Hey there, this is the Small Fish, Big Podcast, a show for the gallus few who dream and do. If you're a small biz owner, a creative freelancer, or someone dreaming about leaving your 9-to-5, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll chat with an inspiring guest who will share their entrepreneurship story before we delve into a discussion about running a creative business. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of season 2 of the Small Fish, Big Podcast. Today I am joined by Niki Munro, who is a small business owner of House of Rothak, which I'm probably saying wrong. She'll correct me in a minute. Niki is a candle and home fragrance maker. Everything she does is handmade by herself, and she has some exciting stuff to tell us about an award that she has recently won, and a little bit about her business as well. So thanks for joining us, Niki. Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Good. So how did I do with that pronunciation? Was I totally off?
No, you weren't totally off, but you were better off camera before we launched.
That sounds right. Right. So say it again for me.
House of Rothak.
Right. Okay. I'm not even going to try to do it. You've done it so much better than I can. So, tell us about your business. Tell us about what you do.
So I make candles and home fragrance products, vegan and eco-friendly items. I make from my studio at home, and soon to be studio at home. At the minute it's in my kitchen, which I'm waiting on basically paint drying in the studio. I've just moved house. So yeah, I started in 2018 under a previous name, which wasn't quite fitting with what I was trying to focus on, where I was trying to go with the business. So I rebranded to House of Rothak in December last year, and everything's just sort of fallen into place since then. So yeah, it was the right thing to do. I'm looking to, as well as candles and home fragrance, I'm looking to add some homeware items, probably spring next year, which will complement the items that I sell and that I make and sell as well.
That is great. Well, thank you for telling us a little bit about what you're doing and where you want things to go. But I would love to hear about how this started. So I think this is my favorite part of this podcast, is just hearing the different business stories and the people that had planned their business for 10 years before they started, the people that just jumped on a whim. Tell us a little bit about the initial idea for your business and how you grew from there to where you are today.
Okay, so no, I hadn't planned it for 10 years. I always burned candles at home every night, just because I like it. I love the way fragrance just makes you feel, etc. And I was spending a fortune on them, not really sticking to one brand. And it was probably, in hindsight, it's probably because I didn't find one that I liked enough to stick to. So anyway, I thought, I'm going to have a go at this myself. What I used to do was, the candles that I bought weren't burning properly because there was lots of wax left in the bottom of the jar. So I used to melt that down, stick a wick in it, and that's how I started the very, very first time making candles. So I wasn't adding any fragrance to it. I was just using the original fragrance wax. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to have a wee go at this. So I bought some wax, didn't know what type it was, some wicks, didn't know what size they were, and I washed out some of the old jars that I had from the shop bought candles. And you know what? They turned out amazing. But it was a complete fluke, I have to say, the first time that they turned out amazing, because it then just went all wrong. I soon realised that there's lots of different types of waxes, wicks, vessels, etc. So yeah, very long story short, I bought some more products after reading a little bit more information, trying some things out, and spending months and months and months working on one item to get it right. And then I started giving it out to friends and family, and the response I got was really good. I hadn't thought about doing it as a business until the feedback I got was very positive, and you should try this, you should really do this. And I'm like, let me think about that for 2 seconds. Okay then. So yeah, because I really love doing it. Very, very relaxing and very rewarding, and my house smelled amazing. So yeah, I as I said, I continue to read, research, and buy the proper equipment, bit by bit. I didn't have funding behind me, so I was buying the things that I needed at the time, quickly finding out that I needed more and more and more. But yeah, the journey started off very, very small, and has just grown and grown into what it is now. But it's been great. I'm so glad I've done it. I wish I'd done it years ago, but yeah.
That's great. So I love how you kind of through trial and error developed your products before you actually kind of really thought about it as a business. I guess it was for yourself at first, and I can so relate to what you said about the equipment, because it was the same with photography for me. It was like I was always quite interested in it, and I studied journalism in university, so we did have a component of the program that was photography. We did a little bit of video production as well, and so I bought a camera on the advice of a friend who's a very good photographer. He helped me kind of pick my first one, but as you say, you very quickly realize, actually I need a camera that shoots better in low light, or I need this lens, or I need, and it gets quite expensive. And I was the same. I didn't have the funding behind me. I had the bank of mum and dad help me a little bit when it came to birthdays. It was like, what would you like? Oh, actually, I'd really like this new lens, or some money towards this. I did have a little bit of help in that way. But yeah, I think you just slowly accumulate what you need. And as you get better at what you do, you tend to need more equipment and better equipment, which is kind of funny.
You do, and you realise the more you delve into something, you realise that you need things to save you time. That obviously when I started selling them, well, I'll tell you about that as well very quickly. I booked my first market and thought, okay, if someone buys from me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a go of this, and they did. Yeah, I done well at my very first market, which was outdoors. I was freezing, but they liked my product. So yeah, but yeah, as time went on, I realised I needed to make more quickly, because my labour was eaten into profit. So therefore, you need better equipment to save you time, and you don't realise that until you actually work a certain way, you know, to get to that stage, until you're doing it not wrong, but doing it slowly. So yeah, it's always a learning curve, and you're always replacing equipment for better equipment, or buying materials for bigger bulk buys. So that saves money, time, and everything else.
Yeah, and I think you're right too, that as you learn, you kind of try different things and find what works for you. So when I kind of started focusing on weddings, for a while, that was like my main focus was wedding photography. I bought myself a zoom lens. Without getting too boring, basically I could shoot quite wide or quite close up with the one lens. And I thought, right, this is going to change the way I work. This is the way that I'm going to do things. I had one camera body. I always had a backup in my bag, and I could kind of get a wide shot and a close-up shot on the same setup. But what I realized very quickly is that I don't actually really like the look of that zoom lens. I much prefer what they call prime lenses, which means that you're at a set sort of distance. So you can either shoot wide or close up, and different variations in between. What that meant, though, is that I needed to buy a second camera body and have a dual harness and have, so it ended up costing a lot of money, but I think I've seen a big improvement in my work since I've done that. And you know, my husband was kind of laughing at me. He's like, do you wish that you never bought that initial zoom lens? Because obviously that was a big investment, and then I ended up selling it off for a lot less than what I paid for it. But I think that's the way you have to learn. I wouldn't have known that I didn't like shooting that way until I tried it, because there are a lot of pro photographers that do shoot that way. So I think it'll be the same for yourself. You try different things, and different things work for different people and different products, and it's just a big learning curve.
Yeah, totally. There's one item which is very, very simple, and I only probably within the last 6 months bought this, and it's a thermometer. No, sorry, I always use a thermometer, but I upgraded my thermometer to an infrared thermometer.
Ooh.
And since doing that, it's been night and day with certain things, because I was using a digital thermometer before, you need to make sure the wax is at the correct temperature before pouring the oil in, and then the correct temperature for pouring into the container, etc., etc. And oh my goodness, the difference it made was, as I said, night and day. So yeah, the old one is there as a backup. I'd never chuck anything out. It's there as a backup just in case the new one breaks. But yeah, that was a not too expensive purchase, which has helped me immensely. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it is. It's something simple where you think, oh, I've already got this and it works. But actually there's something that, yeah, you'd maybe have to spend a little bit more money or upgrade or whatever, but it actually makes a big difference in your end product or your process or your time or whatever. So it is worth it. It's funny when you look back, if I added up all the money I've spent on equipment over the years, it would be, I'd rather not do that.
Yeah. I keep a spreadsheet for things like that, and I daren't look back.
Best not to. So tell us, Niki, you were saying that you decided to sign up for your first market, and if you made any sales, that was it. You would give the business a go. So how did you get from that very first market to where you are today? How long ago was that?
So the first market was in Easter 2018. So that would have been April time, probably.
Yep.
Yeah. So the first market, as I said, I sold, and then, well, I had made the decision in my head, if I sell items, then I'm going for this. And I wasn't just going to play at it. I was going in for it as a proper business. So I just started booking markets, joining Facebook groups, speaking to traders that were at the markets, and they would give you, a wee bit of advice on, where's good and where's not good, but you don't actually, well, to begin with, that's great because I knew nothing and didn't know where to go, where was worthwhile, where wasn't, but it took me probably about a year and a half to realise not every market works for me. And not every time you go to the same market works for you as well. So it's not until you sort of build up maybe a following and you have regular people buying from you who know you're going to be at a certain place, you know the worthwhile ones to do. Yeah. And it took me a while to realise that. But yeah, that's how I built up my customer base. And then I set up a website because I thought, hang on a minute, people might just want to buy from me online and not have to go to a market. So I set up a website and then added a shop onto the website, get some sales through that as well. And from that and the markets and just posting on social media, I've been contacted by stockists to stock in their shops. So I'm now stocked with some shops in Glasgow, Dumfries, and surrounding areas, Ayrshire as well, where I'm from. I went to the trade fair. I took a stand at the trade fair in, gosh, I'm lost with time. What are we on? This is October. So it would have been January, which again was trying to build the brand. So I was in as a new business, just to raise brand awareness. So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to bring the business to where it is just now. It's not just about making and selling. You have to know and find out where to make and where to sell and how to push it. And so yeah, I've joined lots of Facebook groups, local groups, business groups, to help me on my way, and had to learn it all.
And I think it's kind of interesting what you said about the markets, because I've tried different things again with the wedding photography. So at first I kind of just went, okay, I'm going to try one of these and see how it goes. And I tried one and it went okay. I got some bookings from it, but they weren't maybe necessarily the types of weddings that I was hoping to do or that I was hoping to focus on. So I kind of thought, okay, I'm not so sure about this. Did another one. And I think after the second one, I realized that, the people I met were lovely, but it just wasn't the type of work that I really wanted to do. So sometimes I think it's easy to fall into a bit of a trap of going, oh, this market's on, or this event's on, or this platform is looking for advertisers. And you decide to just go for it. And I think maybe that is the best way to learn that whole trial and error. But you're right. Sometimes you